everyone sat around filming it and
laughing.
Andrew said that was the worst experience of his entire life.
The cool thing, there was a safety officer there that someone made, like, we put out the jiu-jitsu mats. Because this was, remember we would do jiu-jitsu in the morning in the high bay there? And I forget, I heard someone came like, hey, Jocko, they're about to tase Andrew Paul. I'm like, up doing work. I'm like, all right, I better go check
you were
this
like,
out.
earmuffs? Did you go check it out?
I don't even remember. It might have been one of those things where I was like, all right, let the boys do what the boys are going to do. Maybe I just saw the video.
Yeah, I think you probably saw the video
but I saw that there was a mat. They took our green, they were actually my mats. They took them, put him down underneath. So he fell face down on the freaking mat, thankfully.
Yeah, that board team guy's bad.
Didn't he say he was going to fight through it?
I think so.
He did not fight through it. Andrew Tall's a tough dude, but that taser took him down. All right, back to the book. Guidelines to orders. Give orders. This is ridiculous. Give orders in a manner which indicates you expect compliance. Do not issue orders you cannot enforce. Give clear, complete, correct orders and follow them up. I mean, the reason I said this is ridiculous is because it's just crazy that what the actual verbiage that we use when we brief is, give simple, clear, concise guidance. And here they're saying clear, complete, correct. Only by long and careful training can the commander achieve perfection in giving orders. Ambiguity, vagueness, and incompleteness of orders are to blame for most disobedience and failure to comply. Which is when I say, if your team isn't doing what you want them to do, the very first person you should check is yourself. And here it is.
And yet that's so hard for any of us to do, right? You get frustrated with the person for not doing what you wanted them to do, and instead of actually looking at yourself and saying, hey, okay, obviously I wasn't clear. I could have done a better job.
The words of an order indicate what is to be done. The manner in which it delivers generates the spirit in which it will be carried out. Oral orders should be repeated back. Failure to do so will most assuredly result in a grave misunderstanding. Only by long and careful training can men learn to receive, obey, and pass on orders to others. Lack of orders does not relieve a commander from acting. You must strive to maintain a complete picture of the situation so you can take suitable action in the absence of orders. It is a wise officer who refrains from criticism until he can make logical, constructive suggestions. An officer should be as good as his word. He should not make promises he cannot keep or make decisions he cannot support. Just perfect guidance on how you tell people what it is you want them to do, how you give orders. The combat commander. Positive leadership. Battle appears to add peculiar problems to command, but when further analyzed, the problems are merely magnifications of those present in training. The great difference between combat and training is the presence of danger and confusion in combat. These two obstacles can be overcome only by positive leadership and by developing a positive and automatic reaction in the individual soldier. That's cool. It's cool that it says this, like, we absolutely added confusion, massive amounts of confusion into our training to simulate we couldn't, you can't shoot people, obviously, during training. You can't add that element of danger, but you certainly can add some freaking confusion.
The term I think I always used was chaos and mayhem, like,
for sure.
Like activate chaos and mayhem. And your trade ed instructors were awesome at doing that.
They were very awesome at doing that. These positive traits of the commander and of the soldier are acquired during training in peace, training in wartime before combat, training during battle, and by mental factors not easily described. Desire to overcome the enemy, devotion to country and to organization, and personal devotion to the commander. When a disciplined unit is spurred by the mental drives mentioned, it fights not only well, but brilliantly. Those are some awesome things to strive for. The the willingness to overcome the enemy, devotion to country and organization, and personal devotion to the commander. Battle is fought for real money and for keeps. Battles are won by teamwork, not by individuals acting alone. The only teamwork that can stand up under the confusion and constant danger, feeling of fear and physical exhaustion is the battle of instinctive teamwork. Success in combat is due largely to endurance on the battlefield. The day after day strain of living in the dirt, of going without sleep and food, of the constant threat of death will cause the man who is physically or mentally weak to quit. Fatigue makes cowards. Men in good physical condition are the last to tire.
I would definitely agree with that for sure. You know what though, man? I was just thinking about like going through the strain and stress of like, I just think about the support of the team. You were talking about the bonds between teams and relationships, and just that attitude. You know, you talk about the respect of the commander, and you know, obviously, you know, no one ever wanted to let you down, and to you, Bruiser, clearly. But I think understanding the mission and just like looking at another guy, you could be under fire in a crazy situation, and you know, I look at like Tony be like, yeah, like look back at you, or you know, even that situation I said earlier where Dave Burke and a couple other, you know, of our guys ran down to grab the pallets of water, like interacting with you, or when you came down, you know, for a delivery, you know, to resupply us, you know, you're just showing up for just a few minutes, checking us out, seeing how things are going. Like, and I think just the look in your eye of like, hey, cool, how things going down here. It's no matter what the physical strain is on you, you know, or what you're going through, or mental strain. It's I think that support of your teammates around you and like the attitude, particularly the kind of attitude of humor in, I think, the midst of some really dire situations, I think was always super helpful for us.
Yeah. That the attitude that people have, and I would love to tell you it's leaders, but as you know full well, it's not just leaders. It can be anyone in the platoon, anyone on a team, anyone in the organization. When things are going bad and someone says, dude, we got this, you know, or whatever. Yeah. Someone, instead of saying, oh, you know, hey, we got to roll out again. You got to be kidding me. Someone goes, good, let's bring it. You know, like that little thing.
The best
freaking
example,
power, man.
There it is, and the best example I can think of is we wrote about in the planning chapter of Extreme Ownership, which, you know, me and everyone else is jocked up. We're about to launch on that hostage rescue operation, and me and you are sitting in there, and Butters, our, you know, intel ensign, comes rolling in and goes, they got IDs buried in the yard and Booker machine gun positions in the house, and you just looked at me and with this big smile on your face, like, I guess you guys are going to get some. And I was like, I guess we are. I mean, that's that attitude, instead of being like, you know, if you'd have looked at me like, oh no, yeah, do you think, you know, maybe we shouldn't go on this? You know, it was like, no, you were like smiling and laughing about it. Now, look, obviously we'd planned and put contingencies in place. We weren't being callous about it, but it was, that attitude was contagious for everybody. You know, or Mark Lee rolling out as the lead turret gunner. Yeah. You're like, Mark, you feeling lucky tonight? Like, everybody's a winner. Yeah. You know.
So pay attention to that, because it's real easy. It's real easy. It's real easy to let that bad attitude come out, and you need to just stifle that thing. You just need to stifle it. And anybody that wants to talk to me about being transparent and showing your feelings, I'll say no. Actually, just be quiet. Just shut up. And what you need to do is you go, oh, this is going to suck. And I'll look at Leif and say, this, you guys are going to get some. Watch this. Let's go bring it. The importance of endurance on the battlefield is underlined by Grant's philosophy, the idea that in every battle there may come a moment when each side is fought out and ready to quit, and the belief that in such a moment victory will go to the side which is able to make one final effort. In the heat of a firefight, the poor commander will not be able to lead men into danger, to make them attack or keep order when he and his men are under hostile artillery fire. He won't be able to execute his plans. Instead, his men will forget teamwork and follow their own plans in fighting for survival. Therefore, you must take every opportunity to make your men confident in your ability to command and of the skill and toughness of your unit. Unit morale, the prospect of entering battle puts every soldier under severe nervous strain. Dangers, real and imaginary, are thick around them. The commander can overcome much of this strain and strengthen the mental endurance of his men by teaching them in advance what to expect. An event foreseen and prepared for will have little harmful effect.
You were talking about the Grant's philosophy there, and I was thinking about Chamberlain at Gettysburg. We were just at Gettysburg for EF Battlefield, and I mean, he and the 20th Maine charged, fixed bayonets and charged down the hill in Little Round Top. That was the absolute last ditch effort. They didn't have any ammo. I mean, it was millimeters close to losing that battle, and that would have changed the entire tide of the battle. If Little Round Top had been taken. So I think that's such a phenomenal example of, to me, that's that default aggressive mindset of like, hey, okay, we're going to be default aggressive to continue this, and that one last push is going to change the entire outcome.
There's a famous boxing match with Muhammad Ali, and I want to say, I can't remember which match it was, but it is a brutal boxing match, and at one point, both fight. Muhammad Ali's all beat up, and whoever he was fighting, I forget. It was an incredible fight, but he gets back to his corner, and he's telling his corner, "Cut him off. He's done. Cut my gloves off. I'm done." And basically, his corner's like, "You got to keep going." And they look over, and the other guy didn't answer the bell. So, like, that's where it's at. Like, if you can give up right there, that's something to think about. Like, can you just go a little bit more? Can you just go a little bit more? Back to the book. In combat, you really see the critical importance of high morale and esprit de corps. Morale must be high enough to stand the shock and boredom of combat. Actually, before I continue here, I wanted to say this. That thing about giving people a heads up about what they're going to face, like that, you're going to, like, I've had fighters where they got their first they're on the big stage. Maybe they're in the UFC for the first time or whatever. They get nervous and they don't know what that is. No one ever told them, hey man, you're going to feel sick. You're going to feel butterflies. Tito Ortiz, Dean used to corner Tito a lot, and they just had a show about Tito versus Chuck. And one of the scenes you can see, it's Tito. He's right about to walk out and he's throwing up, just viciously throwing up. But I remember Dean telling me Tito would get so nervous before fights that he would just start throwing up. But he understood what it was. Now imagine you're just going in your first fight and all of a sudden you want to throw up, and someone just be like, hey, just go ahead and throw up. Just get it out. Just get it out of your system. It's the same thing in combat. You got to say, hey, listen, you're nervous. It's okay. If you're jittery, if you feel sick, whatever, it's okay. That's just your body, focusing its energy towards where it needs to be focused to. It's perfectly fine. But if you don't know that, it can be a problem. Back to the book. So morale must be high enough to stand the shock and the boredom of combat. Every man must strongly believe that what he is doing is right. He must have supreme confidence that he can deal with any situation, that he is a better fighter than the enemy. Esprit de corps is unit morale. Every man must feel that his unit is a superb fighting unit and that he, like the rest, will sacrifice even life itself for the unit. The spirit is often the difference between mediocre and superior armies. It was strong in the Roman legions and in the French troops under Napoleon. Recognize, though, that the commander must inspire beyond group esprit. Only deep personal conviction springing from the identification with a cause will drive a man forward when his unit is destroyed or scattered. personal example. The commander should be a model soldier. He must master the technique of war as it fits his assignment. He must improve and expand his technical knowledge. The commander must strive to make it possible for every soldier to say truthfully,